Good morning, grade 9s and 10s, and colleagues and special guests. My name is Dave Harazi. I'm Director of Development and Alumni Relations. And I'm going to take my mask off because that's uncomfortable. Anytime we can learn from the experience and the knowledge of Hounds is a good one. And today we are really fortunate to have one of those Hounds here today. His name's Phil Ridley. Lots of people know him as Rids. He was a Hound, graduated in 1974 here at Notre Dame. He enjoyed playing football and hockey and drama and choral. He was an all-around student. And then he graduated and he went to St. and he played football and he was running back in the CFL, and then he started teaching in 1979 right back here at Notre Dame. He had 4 amazing years, a wonderful start to his teaching career that lasted 42 years. He was a teacher, director, coach in 5 different countries around the world. Now he and his wife Anne live in Ontario. They have a daughter Julia who's in Dubai and a son Christian in Vancouver. And they're traveling through and they're able to be here today. Fun fact about Rids, he had an acting gig. He played the lead role in the Hounds of Notre Dame movie, which was shot in 1980. It's on YouTube. If you guys have not seen it, I highly recommend it. He had the lead part. He was Cormac, a student named Cormac in the film. And it's an absolute treat to have him here. I don't want to take any more time so that he has all the time here at the mic to talk to you and share his knowledge and his passion for Notre Dame. Please give a warm welcome, Rids.
I'm beyond honored to be here. If you don't mind, all the grade 9 and 10 boys, if you don't mind standing up, please. I was you. I was truly you. I didn't know anything, and I had a tremendous amount to learn in 1972. Please take a seat. As I speak, it's not about me. Matter of fact, I don't even like hearing about me. I just love the opportunity of what I learned, which was given. But I need to start off as a teacher before I come back to you as a student. So I lucked out. You know, anybody get your name on the shirt, Saskatchewan Rough Riders, anybody to play, be drafted, what a cool thing. Just to go to university is a cool thing. But all of a sudden, luckily, Jerry, Barry, they hired me and said, if you stay with the Riders, great. If you get released, come back and teach full-time with us. And so I came back pretty happy, pretty excited. I'm going to be a teacher. And I thought I knew it all. I was one of those ones at university, you know, I've been to university. I know a tremendous amount. And so the first night was unbelievable. But before I even had the first night, I have to tell you the story. I pull up in my old Cutlass Supreme, parked beside a Cadillac. Mike Sitka, an all-Canadian lineman. He's going to be over in Fred Hill with me. He's going to be in the bottom part. I'm going to be at the top. We both get 90 guys to look after me, besides teaching, coaching, and everything. I pull up my car, put it in park. First person I meet, put my hand over the car. Barry Trotz. Barry Trotz says, welcome to Notre Dame. Apparently you used to go here. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, welcome. We're so happy to have you. And if you don't know Barry Trotz, it's okay. But it's just the memory going, Trotzy made me feel welcome as a teacher. Anyways, that night, typical dorms, I'm sorry boys, I don't know what you wear, but I just wore boxers, towel, toothbrush, soap, go walk down the hallway. And I'm about to go brush my teeth, just the same as the kids. And coming down the hall of Fred Hill, going into the washroom, is Dan Monroe. And Dan Monroe taught me more that first moment that helped me and put me back in my place. Because Dan was one of those boys, the ball goes over the fence into the power lines. And he goes and he retrieves his ball. And he's electrocuted. His face was all burnt here, burnt down this side of his body, burnt down his leg. He had, I guess for those who've seen the Phantom of the Opera, multiply. All the face, down here, whatever. So I'm walking down the hallway thinking I know a lot. Walking down the hall, I see Dan midway. I stop and I stare. I'm looking at him going, and Dan, whistling, keeps walking, says hi to me, walks into the washroom, takes his toothbrush, brushes his teeth, washes his face, turns around and walks away. I learned so much in that moment. It's not who you are or what you have. It's what you do with it. It was an incredible lesson for me. Maybe not you, but for me. it brought me right back to reality. For especially the kids, the outliers, the outsiders, the kids like in this room right now, questioning Notre Dame. The teachers, I'm not sure if this is the right place. It taught me right away to help, right away to give, and not stare, and not think, okay, just because you're a graduate in CFL, you're above. Are you kidding me? But my life actually started even earlier. It was 1966, the Saskatchewan Roughriders won the Grey Cup. There's a gentleman named, again, apologize for all these names, but his name was Bill Baker. And before every game, he would read the Lord's Prayer, sorry, wouldn't read it. He would say the Lord's Prayer and the Notre Dame prayer before every game. I was 10 years old. It had a huge impact on me. My family was from Alberta, but I grew up in Ontario until I was 14 when I came to Notre Dame. But I remember as a 10-year-old, before any game, even my wife doesn't know. Oh, I don't know where my wife is.
Back here.
Oh, there she is. I don't think she knows it, but before every game, even when Ann and I pulled through Thunder Bay, I said the Lord's Prayer and I said the Notre Dame prayer. I've done it all my life. I don't say it loudly. I say it to you because I'm one of you. I may not look like one of you, but I truly am. And I said it because it made sense. It reminded me about caring, forgiving, thanking, etc. So I'm going to back it up to grade 10. I'm like you guys. I arrived in Wilcox, Saskatchewan, played football, nobody knew me. Just a DB, didn't do anything. Played hockey, bantam hockey, nobody knew me, nothing. Went to school, started track and field, it was the last sport. Then all of a sudden, I was told, go back to Varsity Hall. Pear's office is where the male washroom is in Varsity Hall. That's where Pear's office was. And someone said, Pear wants to see you. And I'm worried. I'm going, uh-oh. So the first thing I did, because we wanted longer hair, is I quickly did this, put my hair back as fast as I could, made it look, because we all want to have long hair. And I'm not a hippie, don't worry, I'm not the 60s. I'm the post-hippies, I'm the 70s. But I knew that he didn't like long hair, so I tucked it back. I walked in, and Pear goes, Ritz, you're coming with me. I have a graduation speech. I'm not positive the town, but I think it's La Flèche, Saskatchewan. I'm not positive what the town was. And I went, oh my gosh. And then he said, get your hair cut. Right? So I go back to the dorms and tell the kids, I go, why did he pick me? There's grade 11s, grade 12s. There's phenomenal people in Wilcox. Why am I going? No one even knows who I am. So I can't believe I'm going. Anyways, off I go on a 4-seater plane. Pilot, Pear, Jimmy Williams who was his right-hand man. You'll hear the name Jimmy Williams. He was his right-hand man. Anything he did, he helped Pear with. And there's this grade 10 boy named Phil Ridley, petrified, making sure his hair was tucked back. Anyways, Pear goes to give a graduation speech. Pear was flown in. People loved listening to Father Murray. Every supper at Varsity Hall, Pear would get up and talk to us. Anyways, here we go. We're at the head table, maybe 300 people in it. It's about the grade 12s. Everything's going great. Now they're going to ask Father Murray to speak. Pear gets up, and he insults me. You would call it verbal abuse. Look at that little long-haired mucker. True story. Look at his hair. He listens to that loud music, that jazz. He's listening to that rock and roll. He doesn't care about what, he just insulted me probably for 5 minutes. I went, oh no. I came to be crushed in front of a public group. He's using me. I just want to crawl under the table and cry. I went, I can't believe this happened. He could have insulted me worse. I was wrong for everything. You think you're wrong. I was publicly humiliated. And then he goes, but you know something? I love the little, I can't say the word in the church, but it starts with B and ends with a D. And he starts to raise me up. He said he's a thinker. He's an athlete. I then represented the youth of that particular period and made me feel like a Greek god. I'm going to repeat that again. He made me feel like a Greek god. Never have I felt lower and better. And all I came was to represent the youth. Father Murray turned me into such a great human being that it was incredible. And I can prove it to you by telling you this. By the end of it, his speech, when it was all done, I had girls asking for my autograph, grade 12 girls. Imagine grade 10 boys, a girl asking you for an autograph, and I hadn't said a word. It was an unbelievable feeling in my mind. But Pear was a motivator. First and foremost, he got the best out of us. Anyways, grade 11, off we went. Grade 11, played midget hockey, loved all the teachers, kind of like you lucked out having them back here. Anybody who teaches at Notre Dame, I already said this to your principal, I apologize, I don't know her last name. I'm going to call her Kate. I just felt so honored to be a teacher here. I knew what the people did before me. They only paid me $12,000. Full-time job in the dorms, 90 boys, full-time teaching, coaching football, hockey. Then I did girls softball, but I loved theater. That was kind of my thing I really liked to do, so I lucked out doing that. And in grade 12, as a student, I wanted to go off to university. I wanted to play football and hockey, and again, kind of lucked out. I went to another part of the country. I went to Sept. I was in the Maritimes. So here I am, like you guys. I'm pretty sure you want to go to university. I'm pretty sure that's something that you would love to do. But my grade 10, my grade 11, my grade 12 were good experiences. So off I go to university. And took a lot of the Notre Dame things with you. And the coolest part was, on the university hockey team, 6 of us were from Notre Dame. And I don't even know to this day if there's any NCAA or CIS team that has 6 Notre Dame kids on it. I know Lake Superior State had 4 at one point, but it was a cool thing to be surrounded by Hounds in Nova Scotia. It was a fabulous thing to be a part of. But I got drafted and I got cut. It was my first real bit of rejection. But I thought I was pretty close. I want to go try again. So I went to the University of Ottawa, took more English classes, more theater classes. And I have to tell you this. I was a bit of a goofball. I now lived in dormitories for 7 years. 3 at Notre Dame, 4 at Sept. I've been in dorms for 7 years. So after training camp at the University of Ottawa, I went walking around the dorms just being a goofball. And I walked in, I looked at this woman. And I went, wow, this was a mixed dorm. Girls floor, guys floor, whatever. And I went, wow. I lost my words. Luckily, we chatted a bit, found out her boyfriend was Peter Huber. And I went, he's a great guy with the University of Ottawa. Had a great chit-chat. And you're going to hear about her more in a bit. She's right back there.
Oh my goodness.
But I only saw her for a little bit, and luckily saw her at the very end, where we dated a little bit. Anyways, long story short, when the writers released me, I got this fabulous job. Unbelievably phenomenal job. And again, for the teachers who are new to Notre Dame, the people who've been here for a while, or like Rob, who's been here 21 years, 19? 21. 31. Like Rob, love the place. The place is filled with loyalty. It's the most incredible place. And I'm going to come back to why it's the best school. You ready for this? Notre Dame is the best school in the world. And I'm not exaggerating. And no, I haven't been to all the countries. I've only lived in 4 continents. I'll prove it to you. Here we go. So after the first year went great. Second year teaching, same sort of thing. But I got that chance to be in the movie. And I remember Per always talking about all the guys who went off to war. Over 1,000 Hounds had gone off to war. 67 Notre Dame Hounds had died to fight for Canada, to fight against a tyrant, Adolf Hitler. And I know we're not pro-war, none of us are, but we felt we had to stop this man, Poland, Czechoslovakia at the time. And I just felt, wow, this is so cool. And plus to play corner. And no matter what people tell you about the movie The Hounds of Notre Dame, Thomas Peacock, the guy who played Per, was phenomenal. A beautiful man. Like Per, just had the gift. And to be with 2 superstars, Barry Morris, who was in The Fugitive, was kind of like a Netflix show. Barry Morris was a who's who. And Frances Hyland was our best female Canadian actress in Stratford, Ontario. These were great people. I lucked out to be able to tell part of the story. And again, like the CFL, it had nothing to do with money. I just happened to be a part of it and to tell the story. Was it a huge success making money? No. Is it hard for a Canadian film to make money? Yes. It's really hard. Matter of fact, 8 out of every 9 musicals on Broadway fail and lose money. I can tell you all the statistics because I'm mostly involved in the performing arts. I don't mean all of them, so that sounds like I'm bragging. But I follow all of them, the amount of kids, etc. So, I'm now a teacher at Notre Dame. I've been fortunate to be part of the Hounds of Notre Dame, but I need to tell you this. Could all the girls stand up, please? All of them. I I truly had no idea what was coming. Have a seat, I'll explain. Canadian women didn't get to vote until 1922. I was a boy of 4 brothers. I went to Notre Dame. I went to Sept. Again, male dominance. It wasn't until I started coaching girls softball at Notre Dame with Rocco, or Franklin. I had great guys to be with, absolutely great guys. And I realized, oh my gosh, I missed half of my life. I always thought of girls to date. I always thought of girls beautiful, because again, when you grow up with 4 boys, I had no idea. Artistically, they were the best, by a long shot. There's 2 kids here from the Philippines. I can't tell you how phenomenal people are from the Philippines with music. The girls, for me, for the arts, were like naturals. Whereas the guys, I was dragging guys to be in a play. But the girls, to be with them in softball was such a cool thing. Same thing as the guys. Didn't get the credit here, Wilcox. Same thing. Work hard, try to win. Camaraderie, love, etc. I learned such a valuable lesson when we started coaching girls softball. It wasn't hockey, football, track, girls softball, blah, blah, blah. It was hockey, girls softball, football, badminton, all of them. And maybe not the arts yet, but I'm pretty sure the respect of the arts is there now. But the arts was right up there. It was an honor to be a part of it for for 3 years, my 2nd year teaching, my 3rd year, my 4th year. But to the faculty, I have to say this. I had to leave. I was dying. 90 kids in my dorm, full-time teaching, coaching. I'm still a single guy. My whole social life is gone because you're always either on the road, you're always in the dorm. It was an unbelievable job, but such a great job. Anyways, very lucky we had the chance to be in a national championship. But I got this letter from a woman, and it was about 6 pages, and I couldn't understand what the 6 pages meant. And I don't know about you, but I went to the head of the English department, a colleague of mine, his name was Dennis Owen. I said, Denny, I don't know what the woman is saying. Could you read this letter? Denny reads the letter, goes, reads, I don't know what she wants. I go, nor do I. Who do I go to next? Well, I don't know who I went to. I'll say Roy Franklin, Bear, whatever. I finally went back to my shack. I don't know if you still have shacks, but I went to my shack. I said to the 12 kids, I said, guys, can you read this letter? What is this girl saying? And it was Russ Courtnall. True story. Russ Courtnall says, she's engaged. She's saying goodbye to you. Like, of course, show me in the letter where it says that. He said, I can't, but I feel her. So, I can't believe this. A woman's writing me 4 years later from when I met her. So I quickly took out a pen and paper, wrote as much as I possibly can. And on that particular day, there was no email. So I sent special delivery to Montreal, Quebec. I told her everything about my life, how it changed after University of Ottawa, these Hounds, how much I love it. It's so nice to be back in Saskatchewan. It's so great to be back in the West. I told her everything I possibly could, even my belief in God. I said, when it's cold, you need a faith. Anyways, I wrote this letter, sent it to her, and I get a phone call going, where's this national championship? And I said, the P in Ontario. Could you please come from Montreal? It's close to Ottawa. Please come, please come. If we win in Humboldt, Saskatchewan, we win Western Canada. So she goes, okay. And I hung up the phone. So we go to Humboldt. We play BC for the championship. We're representing Saskatchewan. We beat BC in the championship game. We're down in the 3rd period. We win. I'm beyond happy. The athletes get their NCAA scholarships, or they're going to junior high. They're going places. For us to go to a national championship, anyway, I know you're used to that here, but for us to go to a national championship, for me, it was my first time. But more than anything, I was going to see a woman. No sheep, no cattle, no everything else around the community, around Wilcox, great others. A girl. This is going to be unbelievable. So sure enough, we go there, and the first one we play to win the Maritimes is the Sydney, it's a private school in Cape Breton. I forgot the name of it, but Sydney some school. So we're playing and we're whipping their butt. We're beating them big time. And then all of a sudden in the PN had stands that went up there, no stands here. A girl comes in with a red jacket, goes in and up. Nobody going to watch hockey goes up. Everybody comes down to where the people are. And I'm looking up there, and of course the guys are going, is that her? Is that her? The whole team knew about it. Barry knew about it. And I go, I don't know, I think so, but I'm not sure. I've seen her for 4 years and I don't even really know her. But there's this woman up there. So here's the true story. We win the game, it's an easier game. First game, the boys hustle off, take their skates off, take their helmet off, take their gloves off their stick. They run by all these scouts, run by all these parents, run up, they interview her. They interview her. It's a true story. They've got no socks on, nothing on. They're interviewing. They tell us about it. Then they're talking about Ritz. And they said, we're a little bit worried about Ritz because he's never with the girl. They don't know there's not many girls in Wilcox. But they're in it, they're asking her questions. So, of course, the weekend went on. You just want to get right to the point. Did you win the national championship? Yes. Notre Dame. Beautiful kids. And it was a tough one. Tough one, I'll be honest with you. It was a tough game we won. Barry McKenzie says, Johnny Weisar and I are going to go do all the political stuff. Ritz, you and Ann, go take them to a restaurant in Hull, Quebec, and stay with the kids. Because remember, you've won a national championship. We've been really strict about drinking, smoking, all that sort of stuff. We want the best out of the Hounds. So I said, okay. So the next thing it is, I sat near the only door to get out to make sure the kids didn't get out. I was kind of like a bouncer. There's no way they're getting out. There's no way they're going to get too wild. And Ann was up dancing with the kids. She was helping them. She was holding their hands. She just like, oh my gosh, these kids love her. And next thing you know, we go the next day. And again, I'm not bragging this, but we go to the gallery. So here we are in the House of Commons. And Prime Minister Trudeau, but his name is Pierre Trudeau, stood up in front of all the House of Commons, both the opposition and the Liberals, and said, ladies and gentlemen, in the gallery up there, we have the Hounds of Notre Dame, the national champions. All the politicians got up, gave us a standing applause. So there's the team, the coaches, and that woman. She's still with us. It's unbelievable. What a great experience, because I was fortunate to meet someone, and I was fortunate now to be part of a national championship. But the part I need to share with you, you're going to love this. Trudeau, and I'm not going to go political to anyone here, liberal, progressive, I'm not going to do any of that stuff. But I watched him. He's got an earpiece in, probably listening to BBC or French language. He's reading the newspaper. He's got a page asking him questions. He's got his fellow politicians talking to him. And he's got the opposition yelling at him. And I went, how do you do that? How can that be possible? Because then I realized your listening skills are 6 times faster than your speaking. I speak 100 words average per minute. So do you, so do you, so do you. And yes, some kids talk fast or slow. But right now, if you're bored, it's okay. I'm a teacher telling it's okay to be bored. If you start to drift off and daydream, it's actually okay. Because your listening skills are going so fast. It's faster than speaking. I learned a lot from Trudeau just watching. Remember, I'm a person who learned from Dan Marone with a burnt face. I'm the one who learned from our Prime Minister. I learned from coaching with Barry McKenzie. And I'll go on and on about Father Murray, Jimmy Williams, Terry McGarry, Jerry Shotton, my colleagues. But it was a phenomenal experience, and I'm happy to say we're now married 37 years. She speaks 5 languages. And you have no idea to go to Europe and see someone talk all the different languages to people. I spoke English. I didn't take the French. I don't know if they have. So I had that opportunity to be with someone. And so off we went to Red Deer. And the greatest show I was ever involved in is not Lady Girls Valley, not Phantom Valley. All the shows are never. This is something I learned in Wilcox about the Stations of the Cross. My principal in Red Deer, Alberta said, Ritz, can you do the Stations of the Cross after the weekend? So it was a show where we put on the mission music, tables, we put up 8 stations. Jesus is condemned to the cross, Pilate's sent to Herod, Herod sent it back, Jesus falls 3 times, whatever. But here he is. As you know the story, Jesus is nailed to the cross. That picture right there, if you turn around, take a look. So I'm going to do it in the gymnasium in this school. I'm going to block in all the lights, even exits, block the whole place up, put on the mission music so it's loud but not too loud, so people can't talk. But on each station there's going to be a candle, and it's going to say, Jesus condemned, Jesus falls. And so people would walk around like you, and some of them Red Deer, they're kind of cool. They walked around, impressed at first, and they kind of went, they can't see me. All I can see is an image. And the actors who worked with me were either all in white, or they had a little bit of purple to represent the Romans, but people are in different stations, and you can only see the image. But the one I want to tell you about, and why I say it's the greatest show I was ever part of, because Mike was our quarterback. Mike was just one of those great kids in Red Deer. And he's going to play the part of Jesus on the cross. And we tied him up as best we could do. We told him it's going to be 90 minutes. But the music from the mission, him on the cross, his arms shaking, tears going down his face, his eyes closed. You could feel the pain. You could feel the story. Kids were crying going on the building. Teachers were crying. And it was really the simplest idea ever. It reminded me of how important is our faith. It reminded me how important it is to care about your fellow man. Anyways, Red Deer, Alberta, great experience, but now I'm going to Europe. I'm going to be in England, coaching hockey, teaching. Then I go to France. I'd never been around millionaires and billionaires. I didn't know what a millionaire was. And it was a great experience to teach international. Here's where I come to another one for you. Before I finish up about Notre Dame. The birth of our child, and you guys are not going to believe me because you're like me. Read books, listen to parents' stories. But the birth of our baby, our daughter Julia, was a miracle. Put away science, put away everything else. To hold in your hands part of your own blood, and my wife was a miracle. It was like, wow. Being a dad is the coolest thing. Being a dad, chance to coach and teaching, is the coolest thing. Anyways, after France, we had to come back. Because our family all said, please come back to Canada, please come back. You have a granddaughter, emails, what hasn't happened yet. So we stayed in Kingston for 5 years, but Ed and I said to each other, we really enjoyed the international, let's go again. So they couldn't believe in Kingston, Ontario, at Holy Cross Catholic Secondary School, that we're going to go to Venezuela. Venezuela? 88% of the people are below the poverty level. Why would you go there? City of 6 million. In Caracas, 37 murders a day. Why would you go? We had no idea. We just wanted to keep learning. So we went there for 3 years. Taught in international school. I can't tell you how much we learned. I have 2 stories I'll go quickly with. First, I can tell I was Canadian. Not because of the color of my skin, because it says gringo on my forehead. But when we go dance, because the South Americans love to dance, this is how I dance. I was Canadian. Right? All the South Americans could tell, that guy's from Canada. Because they were all moving like this. Everywhere they went, they were moving their bodies. It was so clear. It was so phenomenal how great they were with music, with dancing. But the one that hit me the hardest, we had the IB program. Are you IB?
No, really.
So they had the IB program. Part of it was to go to orphanages. So my family went on the bus. Off we go to the orphanage. And I can't tell you the experience. Little kids without diapers, little kids with half a sock, little kids all over the place. It was unbelievable. Part of the world just is neglected. A third of the world is starving to death. Here's these orphans. Oh my gosh. And we're literally trying to take them off our legs to get on the bus. And they throw rocks at us on the bus. About 167 kids are throwing rocks at our bus as we leave. Because here we go again. People don't care for us. And it was hard for my 2 kids to understand that. But it made sense to me how we've neglected our fellow human beings. Good for a Canadian to go overseas and see what the world is like. And after Venezuela, our last 21 years have been Dubai, and the Tower of God makes sense to me now. The Tower of God makes so much sense. The Hebrew wall, Muslim wall, Christian wall, the affirmations. Most of my kids were Muslims. I had to find their God, or what their beliefs were. Just like I did for here, for the creed, for people around the world. I had to find out what it was like. Hindu. We lived with a Buddhist woman. She lived with us. Her faith was unbelievable. But it was great for me to say, I see the parallel with the Tower of God. The Tower of God is to accept people, no matter who they are, for who they are. Accept people, but have a faith. So I'm going to wrap up because of time. And I just want to say this. The reason you're phenomenal is they give you a faith, no matter what your faith is. A lot of schools do that. Number 2, here's the big one. lack of distractions. There's no parents here. The media's not all over you. There's not constant stores and that sort of thing. The lack of distractions. Russ Cortwell taught me that one. He said, Ritz, you know why this place is so great? Imagine being in Regina, you're going to have constant distractions. And we can get to the internet later in COVID, but that's one of the greatest things here. A teacher can give his heart and soul to the kids. The kids can do their finest. But before I say goodbye and thank you, can I have all the international kids stand up for me? Anybody from outside Canada? I'm a better Canadian by being in Canada. I understand these guys, these girls, these kids. Can you imagine going to a country, especially when you don't speak the language? Brave, 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 courageous, courageous. Please feel really welcome. Please feel really welcome. I hope Notre Dame goes out of their way to make you feel special. Because for Ann and I, in 5 different countries, they made us feel special. So good luck to you in your hockey. Good luck to you in your day-to-day. Good luck to where you are. You're phenomenal kids to come to Canada. I can't tell you how much you mean to me, but thank you. You have a seat. So I'm going to close by saying this to the faculty, hang in there, especially in your tough days. You hit it out of the ballpark by teaching here. To Rob, to Kate, great job in your leadership. I'm so glad, I'm saying it publicly, there's a female principal. To the females, watching Canada beat the States in the Gold Cup game was just unbelievable. It was such a great memory. But I'd love you to remember this. Keep learning. The Tower of God is there for you individually. Just go in and think of the Muslims, think of the Hebrews, think of all the different religions of the world. It's not that you have to talk religion. It's that you have to have an open heart. You have to care. You have to forgive. And you have to know, sitting here today, even though it's been a long time, how lucky we are. And I'm so lucky to be married to her and to have 2 wonderful children and to say, I'm a hound. Thank you very much.
Phil, that was phenomenal. That was a blessing. You know what? We haven't had our first assembly yet because of all, the COVID has kind of messed us up. So if you don't know me, I'm Rob Palmerine, president of the college, and I'm going to be speaking more about a couple of the things that Phil's referenced in his talk, like the Tower of God and some of the characters in the stained glass windows every second Wednesday here. But I truly believe in, I call them God incidences, where the most of the world would call it coincidences, but I call it God incidences, where I think the good Lord intervenes without us knowing it. He sends either events, people our way to give us a message. So I think you being here today on Our Lady's birthday, Our Lady Notre Dame, as Rob Cruz explained, I think it's a God incidence, because Mr. Ridley, Phil Ridley, he nailed it. He nailed what it means to be a Notre Dame Hound. And I'm not going to repeat it because he said it all, but he hit the essence of this beautiful school and what our mission is, our day-to-day mission is as students and staff. He nailed it, and it was inspirational. It was beautiful. I'm going to watch this again. And I encourage you to watch it again. And he's set us up because he was in the movie. He's Cormac, the character Cormac in the 1980 movie. I actually could have been an extra for that movie, but I turned it down. There was a bunch of us at O'Neill High, the fans in the stands, because we actually had hockey games, so we couldn't do it. But he nailed it. So we're gonna have a movie night one night, and we're gonna show the Hounds of Notre Dame. You can watch it on your own anyway. But Ritz nailed the essence of Notre Dame, and he walked the talk as a teacher and as a student, so he knows. He's been in your shoes. But that was beautiful. What a great way to start the year. Our first half assembly, I guess we'll call it. But when we talk about the Notre Dame man and woman, there it is. the Notre Dame man. You just saw a Notre Dame man in action. And notice his wife, Anne, didn't come to Notre Dame, but she's a Notre Dame woman. Two shall become one. That's a whole other story I won't get into today. I think you better write a book or about your life, or let's do a movie about your life. Anyway, give it up for Rids one more time. Kate's got some instructions for us.
No, we're just you're heading to your Block D classes, but we'll exit the church from front to back. So head to your Block D classes.
Front to back.